At the end of the 1967 season, the Kansas City Athletics moved to Oakland, and MLB wanted to expand to 24 teams. Kansas City was one of their 4 expansions. The team owned by Ewing M. Kauffman was called the Royals. The Royals played the first game at Municipal Stadium. They won 3-1 versus the Minnesota Twins. That year, they had a 69-93 record. In 1973, the Royals made a new stadium called Kauffman Stadium. In 1976, George Brett won his first batting title, and the Royals made their first playoffs, but they lost in the ALCS to the New York Yankees. In 1977, Royals won again, made it to the playoffs again, but lost to the Yankees again. In 1978, Royals made the playoffs again, but lost to the Yankees again. In 1979, Royals disappointingly did not make the playoffs. In 1980, Royals made the playoffs once again. This time, they won the ALCS and were headed to the World Series, but they lost to the Philadelphia Phillies in the World Series. In 1985, the Royals made it to the playoffs and were down 3-1 to the Toronto Blue Jays, but they won the next 2, making it a 3-3 heading into Game 7. Royals won Game 7, going to their second franchise World Series. They played the St. Louis Cardinals, which are also from Missouri. And people call this the I-70 Series, also known as the 1985 World Series. Royals lost 3 of their first 4 games, then won the next 2, heading into Game 7, 3-3. They blew out the Cardinals 11-0 in Game 7. The Royals would have a big parade, and Kansas City was super excited. Unfortunately, the Royals did not make it to the playoffs in the next 29 years, but George Brett won his 3rd batting title and made him the first person ever to win 3 different batting titles in 3 different decades. Also, he got 3,000 hits, won 1 MVP, and got inducted into the Hall of Fame in 1999. The Royals made it back to the playoffs in 2014, winning the wild card game in 12 innings. They were looking to make another World Series run. The Royals swept the Angels in the ALDS and swept the Baltimore Orioles in the ALCS, which, for the 3rd time in franchise history, they went to the World Series. It was all tied up, 3-3, heading into Game 7. Royals ended up losing Game 7, which shocked people all across the country. In 2015, Royals made it to the playoffs once again, and they also won the division. In the ALDS, the Royals lost 2 of their first 3 games, putting them at a risk of elimination in Game 4. In Game 4, Royals were down by 4 going into the 8th inning, but they strung on 5 straight hits to start off the inning, making it a 6-4 lead. Then, Kendrys Morales hit a ground ball up the middle that Carlos Correa aired, so it was a tie game. Then Alex Gordon hit a slow roller to Jose Altuve, and Jose Altuve got the out. But not after the Royals scored another run. They won that game 9-6. In Game 5, Royals won and were going to the ALCS for the first time since 2014. In the ALCS, they played the Toronto Blue Jays, winning 3 of their first 4 games, then losing in Game 5. Heading into Game 6, Royals were looking to win the series that day, facing David Price, who has not ever won a postseason game. Royals won, going to their first World Series since 2014. Royals won the first 3 of the first 4 games in that series also. Then in Game 5, they were down by 2 in the bottom of the 9th, in the top of the 9th. Lorenzo Cain was up to bat, and he hit a single. Then Eric Hosmer hit a double, scoring Lorenzo Cain. Eric Hosmer, Mike Moustakas would hit a ground ball that he got out, but moved Eric Hosmer to third base. Eric Hosmer, then Salvador Perez, hit a slow roller to David Price. David Wright, and he looked Eric Hosmer back and threw it to first base, but Eric Hosmer ran. Eric Hosmer would have been way out, but Lucas Duda threw a horrible throw, and the Royals tied the game. In the 12th inning, the Royals scored 5 runs and then won their first World Series in 30 years. At the parade, there were more than 800,000 people.